Ding, 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 ding.
Are you the bell ringer at
Man, I had to run out and.
I thought you were the bell ringer for the new Logan Paul Merriweather fight.
Oh, we're going to get to that, Matt. We're going to get. First of all, welcome to the show, Market Vitals, marketvitals.io. Happy Tuesday, Matt.
It's a Trashy Tuesday. Trashy Tuesday.
It's the new moon. Yeah. Sell the new, buy the full. Working again.
Hey, lumber prices are off 10%. Just saying.
We're going to get to that too. All right. But first, Matt, breaking news. The Queen will announce tomorrow that citizens will be required to show photo ID to vote in general elections in order to prevent fraud. When do we cancel the Queen? Because she's speaking some common sense, Matt. Unbelievable out of the Queen that she would utter such a reasonable thing.
You remember this song?
I'm not sure I can hear it well enough to remember it. I don't know why. Usually you have great audio coming out. The Queen is I'm not dead yet.
So they were singing, Morrissey was singing about this in 1986.
But it's just it's incredibly, racially unjust to require a citizen to prove that they're a citizen. It goes beyond all common sense, Matt. What does she get off? Did I lose you, Matt?
No, I'm here.
He's
just
there.
listening to you. Yeah.
All right, enough of the Queen.
The Queen is dead.
The Queen is dead. Man, I follow this guy on Twitter, and let me share the screen because he shared this book. David Perel, love this young gentleman. He runs a online writing course teaching people to write. How about in this day and age, tons of his students, and this guy, I think he's in his late 20s. He's got people, 40s, 50s, working for high-tech companies that never learned how to write. I mean, our education system's been on a downward spiral for,
excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Anyway, he shared this book, and what I wanted to do.
The great philosopher, William Durant.
Then he shared one of the lines from the book at the very end of his email this week. I'm on his email list, and I just love this.
And he was his parents were French Canadian, by the way.
As we close today's musings, I will leave you with this idea. This is David saying, and this is a line from the book. Health lies in action, and so it graces youth. To be busy is the secret of grace and half the secret of content. Let us ask the gods not for possessions, but for things to do. Happiness is in making things rather than in consuming them. I loved the line. I will get the book and read it on his recommendation. But, we talk about this in trading all the time. Like, what are you going to do, with your success in trading? And believe me, for me, the things that I have done is not about the possessions that I was able to buy, right? It was the experiences that I was able to go and enjoy. For me, that's what trading meant. Trading meant incredible golf vacations. It meant a lot of the doing of things instead of,
and for me, it was the freedom to, go with my kids as they pursued their dreams to play sports and become young adults. That experience, you can't put a price tag on it. For me, getting to meet different people from all across the country and the world, traveling. Same story as you, right? I mean, you got to have something to live for, and it shouldn't all be about, like you said, we're not about Lambos here, and we're about making families and communities stronger, and that's really that's what I think the ultimate freedom and successful trading is, it allows you to give back and do things locally, which I think is the most important thing.
Couldn't agree more. Matt, let's we wanted to talk some sports, and it's a slow sports. For me, it's a slow sports season.
Yeah, but I got to say, just having fans back for me, I was kind of losing it with I don't like the NBA, and really watching the NBA play in practice facilities with no fans was really bad. But now, at least baseball, last few, weeks with Atlanta and the Texas teams, I mean, they got 25, 30,000 every game, which is normal for this time of year. And, half full stadiums, you got to love to see it. And I can watch baseball again, because to me, I love most of baseball is panning the crowd and seeing what's going on. I mean,
the nachos from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but
home run into the nachos, direct hit.
When you watch a live game and they show like these two, 25-year-old kids, a guy and a girl flirting, and, they kind of talk about it in between the pitches, that's what makes it great. That is,
we used to say in the pit, golf is good to nap to, right?
Yes, yeah.
But August, two teams, both 15 games out, yep, right, playing each other. And listening to that game, it's like liquid quaaludes, right? Baseball, top of the night. This brought to you by Zippy Ties. The announcer doing all the local ads. Oh, forget about it, Matt. Yeah. Speaking of romance, here we got a little romance going on with Meriwether Logan Paul.
Romance.
We wanted to talk about this because
what would I got to ask you? What would Don King, how would he promote this fight? Would he do anything?
You know what?
I mean, would he do anything different than what we saw over the weekend with Logan Paul?
I don't think so.
Stealing Mayweather's hat, and then he goes on Barstool and everybody to talk.
I got to tell you though, this was the original reason why MMA, UFC. This is the original reason. Yeah. Why it took off, right? Was because they didn't have weight classes, right? And it was just, this guy's a striker, this guy's a grappler, or this guy's a jiu-jitsu guy. And it was the ultimate question that you had, like when you were growing up, like who could beat up who would win the fight? I got to tell you, I am very strongly in the corner of that. And there's nuance here, drink, because Logan Paul is a giant dude compared to Mayweather, right? He's 6'2", over 180. He can't weigh over 190.
He's a bully, is what you're saying.
And Mayweather is not that tall by a long shot. He's probably 5'9".
5'8", yeah.
And he can't weigh more than 160. So he's giving away 30 pounds. Like professional boxers, a 30-pound weight difference, forget about it. The little guy gets killed.
That's 3 classes usually.
But for me, the nuance here is like nobody ever hit Mayweather like in his professional career. The guy never got stung. So how is this guy going to, and that's what all he has to do is catch him once. Yeah, that's great. All he has to do is catch him once, which no professional boxer ever did. So I think Logan Paul gets put in the fucking hospital. That's what I think.
I'll take the other side and say I don't know how long are they supposed to
I don't know. It's great. How about that $50 pay-per-view? Oh my God.
The first
He's
Saturday.
Gonna kill him, man. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna kill him.
The first Saturday after Memorial Weekend. That'll be.
I think so. I don't know. 26 days from now, June 6th. Yes.
All right.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Come on over. We'll get it over at my place and we'll watch it. We'll watch it. I'll bet. I'll take my 50 on Logan Paul, and you can take your 50 on Mayweather. I'll take the odds. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know what the odds are.
All he's got to do is TKO him, stagger him. If he staggers him, if he makes,
he's going to kill him. That's what Logan Paul has to be worried about: getting killed in the ring.
It's an exhibition, Bob. I don't think it's for anything. It's just a paycheck.
All right, man, let's talk some price discovery because we have some leaking in several boats. And you shared this graphic. I thought this was just a great graphic on lumber, showing the actual effect of the stratosphere that this lumber has gone on. And it really brings home that there's no way this is sustainable long term, these type of lumber prices. This graphic shows 50 grand worth of lumber. 2020, you can build 10 and a 20th of a house. And right now, if you went to build that, you get 2 and a 10th houses built with the same amount of money for the lumber. Obviously, no way this can sustain itself long term.
Obviously, you're not getting 5x for that same house, though. So that doesn't make much sense, does it?
Yeah, that makes no sense at all.
Yep.
But why don't we look at the lumber chart, because I think it's important to understand from.
We got the first break we've seen probably since this one back in late April, and that was, we went from 1360 real quick, again about 7-8%. But now yesterday was interesting. We talked about it. We gapped to an all-time high, 1715 area, and then we closed 2-day low, which we hadn't seen in this entire move, by the way. So we didn't get 2 days here. We got 1 day recovered, 1 day recovered. Like, so yesterday in 1 day, we took out the lows for 2 days. So we took out Friday lows and yesterday's lows, all with the action, and that engulfing, candle that you like so much, the doji. And now you can see today we've fallen another 2.5%. And we're now down, at these price levels, 1560, Bob, we're down 10%, just like that from the all-time high. Now, nobody sold it there, so don't get too excited. But
right.
I just want to point out that this is the first time that we've, and you see another little red mark on our custom, momentum indicator here, suggesting do not be long again until it goes green. So we've had a few of these, and they haven't lasted, but this is really the fourth time that we've seen it in the last 3 weeks, which is typical of spinning action, price distribution, and probably much lower prices coming soon. And again, value on this just short-term chart, and we're just looking back to the first of the year, Bob, is all the way back to 1,000. So again, a 60-70% haircut from the top gets you back into value. That's it.
And I think that's the important thing here is understanding the potential in this market, and it's giant. So if you think that there's
it is giant, and you start to see it in names, and we talked about this, even in names like MicroStrategies that we've been preaching, please be short this on any rallies. The last good rally we had here in mid April took us right up to 870 or so, and we're back to 566. And this is with, by the way, Bitcoin doing nothing. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's just hovering right around that 55,000 line, right? So I find it fascinating that anybody that latched onto the trends of the day, and the one that goes, for me, it's the high leveraged ETF, Kathy Wood. How's the wood shed doing today? It made another low, actually opened below 100 today, and you can see this. So she bought whatever she bought today. She's finally making some money today because she likes to buy the opens apparently on the momentum. So we opened way down here at $99 and we're trading up here at 106. So congratulations, Kathy. You got yourself a little update. Hopefully take some profits on those longs that you finally bought and worked out in a day trade.
You know what, Matt? I have that as a little tweet from Market Rebellion. And the Nigerian brothers pointing out that her ARK Invest added 851,000 shares of DraftKings. This was yesterday. Apparently not afraid of the falling knife.
She's not afraid of the falling knife because here's DraftKings. DraftKings, again, broken. It's a broken chart, just like Penn Gaming that we've been talking about. There's no safety here, folks. One is not better than the other, but the whole market can go down together. And right now we're in a situation where stocks have nothing, the individuality of stock names right now, you can throw it out. This is all pure market conditions happening. That's why we're going to continue to sell off. The NASDAQ, the Russell have hit 1 month lows yesterday, and they went further lower today, and it bounced. The S&P is still only down 100 points or 2% from its all-time high. To get to the low of the April low for the S&P, Bob, you're going to have to see a price somewhere in the level of 39.60. That's the low. That's the low that we saw in April. We're 200 points from that. So if you don't think that, and that's nothing. Again, you're talking a 5% sell-off if we get to that 3,900 from the top.
But we're just supposed to buy the dip every time, right?
Yeah, but again, this is not a. Let me just say, 2% is not a dip, so be careful.
Especially when you look at the, and all these things are replicated. These charts, like you pull them up and you look at them, you're like, one looks just like the next.
Hey, we got an update here from one of our members at marketvitals.io from ESPN an hour ago. Kentucky Derby winner Funky Cold Medina Spirit is what I call that horse now, was treated apparently with an antifungal ointment containing the steroid beta-methacetone, whatever you want to say again. Anyways, that caused the horse to fail the post-drug test. Says the trainer again. Yesterday it was the piss in the hay, but today.
Well, I debunked that after growing up on a farm. You're pissing in the hay. The horse is saying, "All right, how about some new hay?" Like, I'm not eating that hay.
So apparently these wagers are not going to be refunded. Like, if you won, you're not going to get paid now until they reissue the new winner.
So if you won, though, you already got your money.
I don't know. They might.
I've never left a track and not collected my money if I won.
Yeah, but have you been to the Derby? I don't know how they do it. They may say,
oh yeah, they fucking pay it right out at the window.
Not if it's not official. It has not been made official yet. So
was official, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That would be a big problem. Either. That could cause a lot of issues.
I got to tell you something though. They'd have a stern argument for me if they wanted me to hand the money back over the counter.
If they paid it. If they paid it, I agree. They're going to have a hard time.
All right, Matt, let's talk nuance here on this break, particularly important. And Matt, I am no mathematician. And the tweet says, after all, the least squares coefficient of determination of the VIX to the Fed balance sheet since QE started is super high. It's like 86%. And then somebody's response, half of these charts pop my eyes. Yada, yada, yada. He's saying it's more like 92% coefficient. So there's the nuance here today. Like, is the Fed going to buy this dip? Like, buying the dip only works if the Fed buys the dip.
Yes.
And which has happened now consistently
12 years.
A decade or more.
12 years.
So if this stays true, I guess buy the dip works. At some point, maybe the Fed just says, you know what, we're going to own shit forever and prop it up forever. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. You can't deny the math behind this, though.
Well, that's one way that public takes over private is you've been buying the shares all the time.
Say that one more time, Matt, for nuance.
It's one way for public, i.e. government, to take over private, i.e. business, buy the stock.
Right. If they just own all the stock on their balance sheet. I saw Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged was.
I thought you saw her at the pickleball courts yesterday.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. She might have been. Trending today. Atlas Shrugged trending. We talked about it before the broadcast. I don't remember reading it.
I read it, but it's been 25, 35 years.
But it's painting a similar picture that we seem to be experiencing today with government reach.
Well, and that was about the story of public owning private too, and the dystopian government, which convinces the private CEOs to kind of lay down their arms and their capitalism so the government can take it over, right? That's the whole story. And then it ends in demise and
sounds like the Great Reset to me, Matt.
Well, but it ends in demise. Of course, the Great Reset fails ultimately, and you come back to John Galt's version of capitalism, objectivism, right? That's what it's all about. So,
all right,
that's where we are.
All right, Matt. What else you want to cover here?
Well, I think we should talk a little bit about. We don't like to talk geopolitics necessarily, but what's happened to we were kind of patrolling some of the news, slow news day, but Ivanka and her kids were out in Miami taking surfing lessons on Mother's Day, and she's pretty good. She got up. I mean, check that out.
I gotta tell you, I tried when I was young and in shape, and I was never able to get up.
Well, and especially in Miami with 2-foot rollers. I mean, that's really. I mean, you got to be strong and nice core. Anyways, where's Jared? was my question during this whole everything that's going on between
Well, maybe
Hamas
he's,
and
maybe, for sure there is major geopolitics exploding again in the Mideast.
right. But
After,
this is curious that he's not around while that breakout was happening. He's nowhere to be seen in these pictures. So it's interesting. And Mother's Day too. I mean, this is, you're a
well, you
bastard
would
if you're
think,
not around. If you're a
and
bastard,
that's not him in the water.
that is not him. That is not him enjoying the views. Um,
Slow down. All right.
I'm just saying,
Geopolitics.
where's Jared? Where's Jared?
One thing leads into another, Matt. All right, for me, let's just, it's only Tuesday and a lot of week left.
Yeah.
But as we talked this morning, first time now in the SPOOs on the weekly that we, if we can close them below 41.54, let's call it 52. That's the weekly up mo level. And it's respected it since, what did I say? March 12th was the last time we were below it on a weekly.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a rounding top. I guess it all depends on how much the Fed wants to defend, or if the Fed wants to.
Let's see your chart. I'd love to see that.
Because to me, all right, hold on. Yeah, let me share.
I would like to see your momentum chart.
All right, here it is.
Because I already told you, I'm focused on 39.60. That's 200 points lower than where we are, and I think 300 from the high.
I mean, it comes in 41.52.36 to be exact. That's the momentum level. And you talked about this engulfing. Right now, we've engulfed the past 3 weeks of price action. And, it's only Tuesday, so a lot of week left, but incredibly important, this candle now, because we talked about this morning. Like you're going to be able to trap people both ways here by the end of the week, right?
Yeah.
Because
today's a perfect example of that type of behavior, right? You get this opening gap down, and immediately before the market opens, we have this harsh run because conditioning of buy the dips is there. But all we do is snap back to an area that we should sell again, and it does. Then we make a new low, and now we rally hard again. So 2-way trading is here on the intraday stuff. But what I find, let me point out some nuance that I see in your chart here, and it's that lower Bollinger bottom band to me. I don't know if that's the right term, but
this one here.
Yes. See how it's rolling again and making a lower low, which is seriously divergence piling on top of piling for me. And that's the first band that's turning out of any of these. So that
again
to me,
too, like the nuance here.
That to me is telling me that prices are going to go lower. So
and I think the other thing that you'll notice on a weekly is at some point these bands become reactive to downward trading. In other words, if we close them here and next week we start lower, those bands are going to start kicking lower. And once that happens, once that nuance of deteriorating slope on the standard deviation modeling happens, that's when you really got to start to really pay attention. And it seems to me what's been missing, honestly, for the past 2 decades is a grinding bear market. Like we just don't have them for 2 decades now. We get 3 weeks down, 4 weeks down, a month and a half down. No trader around has seen a 2-year bear market.
Well, I have. You saw a few in 2000 to 2003, and then you had another one kind of, 5 through, it was, that one was short. The financial boondoggle 8 and 9, it was really 6 months. And then,
right.
And then we had a big,
Corona was.
So we have not had, the last one I've experienced personally. And then we had, before that, we would get them every 5 years. We would have a 2-year bear, which was kind of normal. But now, as you said, with the Fed helicoptering and buying and doing all the things that they do to prop, I mean, the straight upness, I just can't believe that chart still. It's just like, it's a V on, that is a Hunter Biden V. It's a V on crack.
V for victory. All right, Matt. A lot of week to left here, so mind the mow, though. That's all I got to tell you. Mind the mow and mind the slope as we end this week, and we will be bringing it back up for your viewing pleasure. I think that's all. You know what? Until crypto does something fun, I don't even. Crypto's in the penalty box, Matt.
Penn Gaming new low this morning, hit 75. Now
You
up.
know what? Why don't we spend a little bit of time on Penn Gaming? Because I got to tell you, man, I feel my heart aches for Davy Boy, because it's his rants now are becoming they're off base, they're off kilter as far as I can tell. I'm reminded of traders.
He's in the denial stage.
Yes, I mean they had a nice bounce here off of the lows, but this thing is still. I mean, it's the bounce to sell.
But remember, we said 70 will be that first area that it'll bounce. Well, here we are. We hit 73, so we got it. We got done. We get the bounce. So here's where we tell you, any continued bounce, we're up 10% from here. We get to 90, right? That would be great. I would love to sell some at 90 again. We get to 105, I will sell some again. We get to 118, I will sell some again. I'll sell all the way up there. I'll buy puts all the way up there, thankfully. So that's my plan, Bob. We're cut in half. Haircut 100 here. You need 100% rally to get back to even now, Davey. It's not going to happen. There's nothing in this market that is going to give you that momentum that you had, that you failed to sell into. You always sell into momentum, always.
Well, you got to be taking profits.
You have to be selling into momentum.
We talk about that all the time. There were plenty of collar touches on the 1 day and 3 day where it was way overextended.
I mean, so, nobody got 140, but you sure could have spent some time in the 120s exiting your position, right? That would have been easy, really easy. And DraftKings, by the way, is not protected anymore. And they're the bigger company. Okay, so Davy Boy's at just under 13 billion market cap, and DraftKings is 17.6. So they're still the big dog. And again, if you want to, there's really no arb here. There's no trade, right? You can't buy one and sell the other. To me, they're the same. They're going to move in the same way. Interesting thing again here is that we touched all the way down here to 42 this morning, and this has rallied back. And again, this is an area, if you want to take a counter trend trade, which again, the trend is down, but if you want to take a counter trend trade, again, pretty loosely, 32 to 42 would be the area, right? And usually that first touch of the pivot or the point of control, we bounce, and we did. So if you were ready and did your homework, had this chart, the 610 long-term chart, you knew this was a good buy area, right? So that's okay.
So let me ask you a question, because and let me share for a second.
Yeah, but but honestly, I would have already exited with my $2. I'd be like, gone. That's the trade. On. So
because I want to take a little macro look at it, and so is DraftKings, is this just going to be an advertising model, because it's a race to the bottom on the gaming side of it?
Yeah.
Right. And so DraftKings has, they have a lot of affiliations with pro sports, and they have all these other leagues, right, that aren't really directed at the.
Yeah, you're betting players versus players. It's a whole different. It's a massive prop bet scheme, is what it is.
Yeah, and it's almost like its own. It's like CBS. It's like you go there because, but you're going to consume advertising on the platform
for sure.
And so because somebody Warren asked inside the group the other day, is there any place where you can wager crypto and use crypto as your wagering dollars?
Most of them.
All of them, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, you got this one, wager.com, and it's a completely crypto-based wagering platform. All right. And here's the thing that jumps out at me, man. 40% lower juice. All right. So there's a race to the bottom on the book side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And so how does DraftKings and Penn Gaming, how do they survive in a race to the bottom when their revenue is, if the revenue is driven by gaming, but by 40% lower commissions? There's one thing I know: nobody is brand loyal when it comes to paying juice. Nobody.
Or commissions.
Or commissions. Exactly. It's like, what do I care? Yeah, great. You were funny.
As long as
You made
you're
me laugh. Dude, I'm not paying you the juice because you made me laugh.
right. Matter of fact, I can still watch you and trade at, wager.com or whatever that thing was called.
Wager, WAGE double R.
Double R, which means real Russia.
I'm sure it was programmed there. 100%. All right, Matt. Tuesday, definitely.
Well, and that theme of race to the bottom, as we said, we talk about it. It happens in commoditized businesses, whether, and when you're on the opposite side, like the grains right now, those are going the other way, right? So that's a different thing. But pot stocks, gambling that were so hot in the end of 2020, not so hot right now. And it's a race to the bottom because they are commodities ultimately. No different than corn, no different than gold, no different than, oil. When the demand is there and there's something going on in the world, or the big Logan Paul fights coming up and you want to place a wager, that's, but to your point, I don't think Penn Gaming's model is advertising of Barstool. I don't think ultimately that's where they're going to stay alive. So, if you start burning your viewership and at some point these, the 15 to 30-year-olds that you've been marketing to and selling for the last 15 years, which he has, they grow up, they don't have time. I mean, it's just like, it's interesting because like my go-to still app for me is still ESPN because I like the interface. I know where to find the scores, right? That's what I use it for. I'm not going to switch to Barstool, even though my kids are on the Barstool side looking at maybe scoreboards and things, but I don't. But eventually, just like ESPN, your viewers grow up and they got, they have lives and they're not going to spend as much time in your content watching your shit, especially, I don't know, to me, it's garbage mostly. So,
it's like worked. Elon Musk. It's just not that funny.
It's not that funny.
I mean, he's a visionary. So, you know what? Let me vent just a little bit.
Please.
On because I watched his monologue. I hadn't seen it, and actually, it was really good. There were actually some really funny things. Props to Elon on the monologue. But maybe we can look at the space chart, Matt.
You want to look at space?
Why don't you bring the space chart up? And this is Richard Branson's company, yes?
Yes.
And I want to continue with my thought. And I tweeted it out in a response to you. No one's going to Mars. Like, no one's ever going to Mars.
So, listen, this stock was trading 62 February 4th, 63. Today it hit the lower end of the value here at 1360. It traded off that low. Everything's off its lows, but still red on the day.
You show it to it. We're not seeing it.
Oh, you're not seeing it?
We're not seeing it. Space. The final frontier.
Sorry about that.
And here's my thread. Here's my thought on it, Matt. Like Columbus, when he said, we're going to go cross that ocean, and most of the people were like, hey, fuck you. I am not crossing the ocean. Right. Like, that's sure fucking death. And he was like, but wait a second. There are exotic lands and gold and women and places to conquer and killer things to see over there. And now you're like, a few people like, well, I fucking hate it here. I'll go.
I'll give it a try.
I'll give it a try. Like there's riches and there's discovery. There's nothing to see on Mars. Like who's going there? There's no Martian, group of hotties, and there's no gold. I mean, there's probably plenty of gold, but you ain't fucking bringing it back. Like who's going? And then Elon said, when we go, a lot of people are going to die. Well, I tell you who's not going. Elon's not going. There's no chance he's going. He's not going to go die. Yeah. Who's signing up to go die on the chance of getting to a freezing fucking cold, dead planet? That's what I'm saying. I just don't see it. Like, don't sign me up. I'm not going. I'll go to Eastern Nevada and hang out, and it'll be like a 10th of Mars.
So here's what's interesting. The Virgin Galactic, the low post-COVID was $9.21. So we're just pointing out the theme here is those prices that we saw in March of 2020 on so many stocks are going to happen in a lot of stocks, most, if not all.
And here's another good nuance here. I don't actually
Right.
mind buying it down there because who's going to short it to zero from $9 to zero? This is like the reverse games or the same thing as the game side. Like you're an idiot to be shorting it at $9. Where are you going to get $9 out of it? I mean, it's not a bad place to buy it down there. Maybe I'll change my mind about space travel. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe they'll find something on the dark side of the moon that's worth visiting. I don't know.
It's going to take some time for that chart to develop for me, but yes, I mean, that's all good points. And again, buy, like to your point, buy and hold. If you're a buy and holder, this is a good spot to, this morning was a good spot probably to walk in at $14. That's buy and hold. Or you just made a trade and you made 20% and you're gone already because it went from 14 to 17. So again, these are counter trend trades right now. The trend is still down. It's getting overcooked. We're not suggesting you short it now. It's too late.
No, and I think that's important here. It's like the game.
This
shorting games out at $3 for 3 to 0.
Yeah.
You're a fucking idiot.
And this is the story. That's why we talked about all these names when they were up at the frothy levels of February, March, saying sell, sell, sell. We're going down. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's not looking pretty.
Well, I'll tell you, no one's going to Mars in our lifetime.
Hey, Bob, is there life on Mars? Asked David Bowie.
There probably is, but I don't think there's a cantina that I'd like to go hang out at. It's stuck.
So you're saying there's not a cantina like the Star Wars series came up with?
No, there's not. That's my point. It's
Jar Jar Binks is not going to be there for us. Is that what you're saying?
100 below 0 Celsius. Like, what are you doing there? What are you going to do?
Yeah, just to make it there is going to be, a battle. To your point.
And then once you get there, you can't walk because you've been in zero gravity for
months and
forever.
Years. Forever.
All right, that's what I got, Matt. Thank you so much.
Is there life on Mars?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, Matt. We'll be back tomorrow. Marketvitals.io. Visit us. Visit the website. Join the community. Join a community of traders who will not piss down your back and tell you it's raining. That's one of our mottos of what we won't do.
Rain.
All right, pal. You have a great day.
Thanks, Bob. You too.